It's NFL mailbag time. I'm going to be answering all the questions on today's show, and to get your questions on the show, there's two ways to do it. Use hashtag NFL or Super Chat. The other way is this. If you give producer Sam a follow on Twitter, at SamBrownCS, by the way, he is slowly approaching 1,000 followers. 3 away. He's 3 away from 1,000 follows. Let's get him there. He's the guy that picks the questions. So maybe hint, nudge, nudge. You want your questions on the show, go give him a follow on Twitter, at SamBrownCS. We got a Super Chat coming in here. It's from Matt Gruber. Buy or sell? Steelers have first losing season under Mike Tomlin. They went 1-5 in the last 6 and haven't gotten better in the offseason, and Cleveland has. So it's funny because, yes, he's never done it, and I was doubting him before. I am going to buy this, though, because the defense is going to get worse. The offense is going to be worse, and I understand that Ben's coming back, but he was really bad last year. Sure, you were able to keep Juju Smith-Schuster. I like this question a lot, though, Matt. I am going to buy. This one's coming in from Shamari Peoples. Early prediction for the winners for each division in the NFL. Oh, my Lord. So every single division. Give me 1 second here. All right, so some of y'all are probably not going to like this, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Washington Football Team, Green Bay Packers. Let's go with the Tennessee Titans. Let's go with the Buffalo Bills. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Cleveland Browns, Kansas City Chiefs. Those are your winners for this upcoming year. If you guys want to go down and let me know who y'all think is going to win each division, please go ahead and let me know. If you guys love the NFL, then go ahead and subscribe for free videos every single day. We're pumping out new videos basically every single 3 hours here at Chat Sports. If you want to join us for our live shows Monday and Wednesday, it's at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. Heck, we even do NBA shows. So seriously, no reason. Keep you guys up to date. Everything going on in sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. What up, Alan? Get a picture. Who will start at center for the Dolphins this season? Man, that's a good question. I can tell you one guy it's not going to be. It's not going to be Ted Karras, but they did sign a center last week, Matt Skura, and my only question is this. I actually don't 100% know if he is going to be the starter. If I was the Miami Dolphins, I would say I would really just want him to be more of a depth player. And if I am Miami, I'm like, okay, who could I honestly go out there and still bring in? There's not a lot of names on the free agency market that I'd be really confident in. Other names to keep in mind in terms of the NFL draft. Rashawn Slater, I still think he could actually play a little bit of center. He's more of a guard. Or what about a guy like Landon Dickerson, Creed Humphrey, and a name to really keep in mind for Dolphins fans, a guy who absolutely killed it at the Senior Bowl, Quinn Miners. If they could get him in the third round, pick like 81, they do it in a heartbeat, but maybe even pick 50 if they really want another center. Alan, if you're a Dolphins fan, go subscribe, youtube.com/DolphinsNews. Got a super chat coming in from Michael. What time is the Raiders live stream tomorrow? I was there last time. Best live stream ever. You might be talking about the Kenyon Drake live stream where we got absolutely just trash. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It's tomorrow. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. If you guys are watching this on a later date, then please go check it out. We made like 2,600 in Super Chats, and I said if we did that, I'd bring my dog on the show. So if you guys want to see me do an entire Raiders show with my dog in my arms, go check out the show tomorrow, youtube.com/Raiders Report. All right, this question's coming in now. Another Super Chat from Joshua Height. There is a report that the Seahawks could still be interested in a center to compete with Posick. Oh, boy, who do you think the Seahawks could bring in to compete? I'll tell you what, man. I actually like Ethan Posick a lot. If you want to bring in depth, that's great, but I don't really think there's another free agent center out there that's ultimately going to be able to come in and compete with them. I think maybe the report is more based on going out and drafting a center. Now, they don't have a pick in the first or second round this upcoming season, so if you want to go ahead and you want to bring somebody in the draft, that's great. You can go ahead and do that. The center class, though, is not ultimately all that terrific. I'd be more confident in keeping Posick coming off probably his best year of his career to ultimately protect Russell Wilson. All right, let's go to TP Sports, another Super Chat. NFL, hashtag NFL, of the free agent wide receivers, who should the Ravens target? I mean, in a perfect world, who's visiting the Ravens today? Oh, man, I already forget. So, Will Fuller's off the board. Allen Robinson's off the board. Kenny Galladay's off the board. Juju Smith-Schuster's not there anymore. I mean, if I'm Baltimore, I'm looking for a big outside type of receiver who can still ultimately block. I know last year they tried to get somebody like Des Bryant who really did not do too much. I'm trying to think of the wide receiver. Oh, Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is the receiver right now that is scheduled to meet with Baltimore. It's more speed, not really the best blocker, but if you are trying to save a little bit of money, he's a guy to at least keep in mind. All right, let's go to Burn and Spades. Always a super chat. Burn, and we appreciate you, my dude. Falcons re-signed Gurley and signed Davis. Thoughts? Also, what defensive scheme do you think that they will run? 3-3-5 or 4-3-4? Shout out Chase, Sam, Tom, Mitch, and all of you at Chat Sports. Well, appreciate you, Burn and Spades. You've been one of the best MVPs, no doubt, Chat Sports has had over the last 2 weeks. Thoughts on Gurley? If you can get him for $3 million a year, I'd be interested, but I'd actually also rather maybe just have a guy like Mike Davis and then draft a running back a little bit later on. And the defensive scheme, I know they don't have Dan Quinn anymore, but I'm probably team 4-3-4, probably the way they're ultimately going to go out to do it. But if they also try to copy what the Titans did last year, maybe Arthur Smith liked what they did. There's a lot of different routes they could go, but I'm actually going to sit here and say 4-3-4. All right, y'all, name a player that you think could be traded here upcoming, like pretty soon. Free agency's been kind of wild. There's no doubt about that. We have seen a few trades go down. I know the Raiders probably most recently, like Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson made 2 trades. There's always going to be OBJ trade rumors swirling around. Bottom line is this. If you see players that could be traded, Deshaun Watson's name's going to be popping up. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to get traded, but if there are videos that need to be made or if there's trade rumors, we will cover them here. So go down in the comments. Let me know. Who do you think is a player that could get traded? Magikarp2114, what does he evolve into? Don't Google it. What do you think about the Dolphins getting Chase at 3, swapping 18 and 27, and giving an extra pick if needed for Orlando Brown and picking Najee Harris with pick 27? Are you confident that Najee Harris is going to be there at pick 27? I'm not 100% confident he is. And for Orlando Brown, would I give up pick number 18 for Brown straight up? Probably would. I understand the idea then of swapping your first-round picks, but if you're going to go out and get Najee at 27, I just don't know if he's going to be there. I'm also team potentially just get Travis Etienne at 36 or one of the Carolina or Memphis running back. Excuse me, hang on a second. Looks like Magikarp took all my water. But I do think if you could trade up straight up like 18 for Orlando Brown, it would be something that they'd be interested in. Looks like I'm losing my voice from last week's videos. Casey the Sledge Storyteller. Who could be competing for Christian Barmore in the draft? So guys that could draft Christian Barmore, there's going to be a lot of teams looking for top defensive tackle talent. I mean, there's just no doubt about that. And for him, he's the top DT out there. I think he's the only defensive tackle that ends up getting drafted in the first round. But I would have said somebody like the Las Vegas Raiders. You could potentially see the Miami Dolphins be interested. Minnesota Vikings maybe make some sense as well. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, definitely make a lot of sense. But KC, appreciate the question. Those are probably the top teams that go out and get somebody like Barmore. Lloyd Webster, you're next up here on NFL Daily. Thoughts on the Broncos adding Marcus Mariota? So you said adding. I don't think they trade for him because it's very rare that teams inside the same division make a trade, whether it's the Raiders, whether it's like it just doesn't happen. I would wait to see what the Raiders ultimately do with Mariota. So the report on Monday is that he could actually restructure his contract. If he does that, restructure, stays with the Raiders, then the possibility kind of goes out the door. If he just outright gets cut, then yes, I do think a team like Denver could be interested, but I know there's going to be a lot of teams actually that would be interested in going out and adding Mariota because he's just that extra element of surprise ultimately. But Lloyd, if you're a big-time Broncos fan, go check out the channel. It's youtube.com/Broncos TV. So try to predict it. Name a team that made the playoffs last season but won't make it in 2021. So out of all the teams that made the playoffs last season, think about them. Which of those teams is ultimately not going to make it this upcoming year? Go down in the comments section and let me know. All right, we got Matteo. Hopefully I pronounced that right. What record do you think the Giants will end up with? Let's just go 7-9. All right, Israel. Will the Panthers finish top 10 in sacks with Burns and Reddick? I'm going to say no. Finishing top 10 in sacks is difficult. I like the pickup of Reddick. I like, obviously, Brian Burns a lot too, but still not one of the better defensive lines in football. All right, Christian. if Gardner Minshew being traded, so basically which team would he end up going to? I just don't know who's going to trade for Gardner Minshew. Like, no disrespect to Minshew. Like, he's a fun quarterback, but there's a lot of other options out there on the free agent market. I think he stays put in Jacksonville. Nobody's going to trade for Minshew Mania. Maybe Denver, but even that, he's a short quarterback. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's go to Brayotis. Seahawks need a third wide receiver. Who do you think they get? T.Y. Hilton, maybe. I don't see T.Y. Hilton being a very good fit in Seattle. I actually think they already got their third wide receiver in Gerald Everett. So for the longest time, Seattle hasn't had a very good tight end. But now you add Gerald Everett to ultimately be able to replace somebody like David Moore. I think that that's probably the route that they end up going. They need to add more offensive line help. I understand they still have some solid guys up there like Gabe Jackson, Ethan Posick, but no, I don't think they're going to go out and add T.Y. Hilton. Let's go to Sammy Seahawk here. What has been the Seahawks' best offseason decision so far? Probably not trading Russell Wilson. The fact that he's still on the football team, I mean, he's been your number one dude. Like, if you would have moved on from him, you would have got a lot of draft capital back, but keeping him has by far been your number one thing. I was happy that they went out and traded for Gabe Jackson for only a fifth-round pick. I thought that was very good value. You brought back Ethan Posick on a pretty solid deal. That was obviously good value as well. But, yeah, the best decision has been that they ultimately kept Russell Wilson under center, and he's going to be the quarterback, in my opinion, in 2021. 2022 is a different story, but until we get there, we'll wait and see. A lot of questions on today's show, and I appreciate everyone coming across here. Had 831 people watching our live stream. Obviously, we can't get to every single one of those questions, so if I missed your question and you want to hit me up, I'm on IG. Slide in the DMs. It's at Mitchell Renz 365. All right, Burning Spade. Sam, Lock, or Darnold, or draft, in your opinion? If Sam wants to go ahead, it looks like he's ready to rock and roll. So Sam's the guy behind the screen. He also runs our Broncos show. So Sam, take it away.
Yeah, I'll rank them 1 to 3 real quick. Probably right now I'd go Lock, draft, Darnold. I don't want to touch Darnold. I don't want him.
So Sam's not trying to touch Sam Darnold. That's good. I'm glad to hear that, Sam.
Sam's don't touch Sam.
Sam's don't touch Sam's. Interesting. All right, Burning Spades, appreciate the question. I actually agree with him. I am going to also just basically, what did you say, Lock, draft, Darnold. Okay, I'm on board. Let's go to iDelineator. First off, props for Smarty knowing Justin Fields is a bust waiting to happen. Okay. Which running back would you prefer for Atlanta? Gurley, Bell, Fournette, or Davis? In terms of just overall talent, I still think Leonard Fournette's probably the most talented of that group. In terms of money and knowing the system, I'm actually going to go with Mike Davis. Another name to keep in mind. I know it's not the same scheme, but if Tevin Coleman can stay healthy, I do think a team like Atlanta could take a shot on him. All right, let's go to Rodrigo Silvia. Do you think that the Bears could use Foles as a piece of a trade for another quarterback? I mean, who the hell wants Nick Foles? Maybe Philadelphia because he won a Super Bowl there, but he's scheduled to make $4 million, and it looks like Andy Dalton's going to be their starting quarterback, which it's really pains me to say because the Bears, they deserve a QB. The best quarterback to ever play in Chicago probably is Jay Cutler. Smokin' Jay is a fun name, but like that franchise deserves a quarterback. It sounds like they're going to get Andy Dalton, which is still probably an upgrade of what they've had. All right, let's go to Zach Courtway. Should Seattle sign Earl Thomas and Antonio Brown? Wow, both big-name guys. I'm going to say no. I don't think Earl Thomas goes back to Seattle, and I don't think Antonio Brown signs there either. I know he's worked out with Russell Wilson in the past. They had a connection. AB is going to figure out a way to end up going back to Tampa Bay, as he should. In terms of Earl Thomas, man, I don't know where he ends up going. I could see you're always going to see Cowboys. You're always going to see Raiders. Maybe Seattle makes some sense in there too, but I don't think Earl Thomas goes to Seattle. All right, we got the Lunatic. Think Dallas gives up a second for New England. All right, so J.C. Jackson. Do I think they will? I personally wouldn't. I think J.C. Jackson is a good player. I'm not going to give up a second-round pick for him personally. I think there's been a lot of talent on that defense, especially around him, which I'll say makes him look a lot better. If he were to end up going to somewhere like the Dallas Cowboys, I think he'd be exposed a little bit more. So I'm simply going to say no, I wouldn't give up a second-round pick for J.C. Jackson. All right, let's go to RXZZER. Should Denver be looking to draft another cornerback? Yes. I understand they still went out and got a guy. Who'd they get, Sam? Darby and who? Kyle Fuller, excuse me, yes. I still think that they could add a little bit more here. I mean, no disrespect to Darby. I think he's a little bit washed up. The question is, are they still going to go out and get somebody like a Caleb Farley or Patrick Surtain at pick number 10? That remains to be seen. Kyle Fuller, though, he's got the big name, and so does Darby. They're past their prime. They're not top shutdown cornerbacks anymore. They're still very good corners, but I do think that Denver still could go out and draft a cornerback, no doubt about it. Supa Dupa Kai. Do you think that the Raiders go get Trevon Moehrig at 17? So he's the top safety out there. There's no doubt about that from TCU. And they did actually just have a virtual meeting with him. We'll see ultimately what ends up happening, but this was a football team that I thought they were ultimately going to go out and sign a top safety. The fact that they haven't done that yet maybe is saying, okay, we do have a lot of confidence in Moehrig. We think that he can play that center field position here in a Gus Bradley system. But at pick 17, originally I would have said maybe a little bit of a reach. The Raiders have been known to also reach based on needs. We'll see what they end up doing, but if you're looking for the top safety, I do think it's Moehrig. Jack Katz, Bengals record in 2021 and Burrow's touchdown count. All right, so we're not looking for a body count because that's probably going to be a lot higher than his touchdown count. I'm going to sit here and say 27 touchdowns for Joe Burrow in his second year. If he can stay healthy, they have a lot of talented options there at wide receiver. The offensive line has also gotten a little bit better. But until the draft happens, it's still kind of hard to say. Let's say, 5, 6 wins for the Bengals this upcoming year. And let's say 27 touchdowns for Burrow. All right, this is going to be the last question on this mailbag here. Miami cut Wilson. Should Miami sign another offensive tackle? If they didn't, should Miami draft Sewell or draft Chase, Smith, or Waddle at the third pick? If they draft top 3 wide receiver, who do they draft offensive tackle pick 18? Okay. Yes to they cut Wilson. You're correct there. Should they sign another offensive tackle? Potentially, but I wouldn't want him to protect to his blind side. I'm team draft Penei Sewell. If they do draft Chase, Smith, or Waddle, I think the most likely option is Smith. And then if they end up doing that, look for a guy like Christian Darrisaw. Look for a guy like a Tevin Jenkins, maybe even somebody Samuel Cosmi at pick number 18.